If you've been following Henry Repeating Arms for any length of time, you may know about one of their charitable branches, Guns for Great Causes. This program was set up to help benefit children, not only in the hospital, but also children's hospital organizations, wildlife conservation, veteran, and also your Second Amendment organizations. I told Mr. Imparato about Ethan's situation back in early May, and he immediately wanted to help. He donated 88 rifles to help benefit Ethan and his family. Each one of those rifles will have a special custom serial number, and they also have engraving and hand painting on the buttstock. While these rifles were still in production, I gave Mr. Imparato the news that Ethan has succumbed to his illness. You see, Ethan was the youngest of 9 children, and when he passed away with the love and compassion of the Army that was supporting him. These rifles are now ready to be purchased on Henry USA's website. I will pin a link in the comments below, and serial number 1 will be auctioned off on Gunbroker. And every penny earned from these rifles will go help the Shaws with their medical expenses. I have made hundreds, if not thousands, of videos in my life, but this one was the most difficult one that I ever had to make. Here is the interview with the Shaws. Welcome back to another episode of Henry TV. I am your host, 22 Plinkster, and I have some really good friends to my left, your right. Tell us who you are.
My name is Will Shaw, and this is Shavonna Shaw.
And I've known the Shaws for probably about 4 or 5 years, maybe 6 years. Became very, very close with their family. They have 8 beautiful children.
Jedi Shaw. Wyatt Shaw.
My name's Josiah Shaw.
Malachi Shaw.
My name is Mary Taylor Shaw.
Tristan Shaw. Calvin Shaw. William Shaw.
But we're here talking about Ethan, their youngest child, which was their 9th child, and he was only 2 years old. March the 20th, I was on a business trip in Florida, and Will sent me a text message saying, pray for their youngest son, Ethan. They found a tumor in his brain, and he was going to let me know the outcome of it. Now, Will, can you tell me a little bit about Ethan and his condition?
Basically what happened was we started noticing him having some balance issues.
Mm-hmm.
He was totally normal, running, playing, having a good time. But he started just kind of being unstable. And so we took him to the family doctor, and then she referred us to a neurologist because she thought that maybe there was an infection on his brain or something like that. And so they made the appointment, and we went, and they did the MRI, and I actually found out on FaceTime because of COVID, everything was going on. I wasn't able to be with Shavonna at the hospital, but I found out on FaceTime that he had a large mass in his brain, and it was cutting off the fluid going from his spinal column into his brain. And they originally classified it as medulloblastoma. But then later on, after the genetic testing was done, it came back that it was a very rare form, and it's called ETMR. And basically, since 1990, there's been around 200 cases worldwide of this particular strain. And so it was incredibly rare, and we were praying. And that's all we could do, really. At that point, the doctors said that there is not a lot of hope, that it was a terminal prognosis, and unless there was an alternate treatment that maybe we could do, and we did. We found one that was for treating brain tumors like this, or at least in a classification like this, but each one is different. They have hundreds of different genetic classifications. So that was the main thing, is the chance was it may work and it may not, but we had to do it.
And you're located here in Tennessee, of course, and the treatment center was in Texas. Houston, Texas, and your insurance didn't cover the treatment
because it was a clinical trial. That it was considered out of the norm, but we just we said we'll figure it out.
Yeah, I'm a father myself, and when you hear something about your children, no matter the cost, no matter the sacrifice, you'll do anything that you can do.
Yeah.
And you told me that the treatments were $17,000 per treatment. And I immediately wanted to do something. These guys are some of my closest friends, and I called Anthony, and Anthony told me about a program that Henry has. It's called Guns for Great Causes, and Anthony wanted to donate 88 rifles and on the behalf of Ethan. And while we were trying to get this going, and the factories are running slow because of everything that's going on in the world, unfortunately I got the call. He went home, and I'm not talking about his earthly home, but his heavenly home. And my wife called me. Of course, I was on another business trip, and she called and told me. But just in that 2.5 short months, the bills were piling up and piling up and piling up. The doctor bills, the treatments, the multiple ER trips that I know that you guys took. And now that the rifles are ready, and I know that at first they were supposed to help through the progression of his medical expenses. Now that Ethan has went home, you still have those medical expenses, and Henry wants to help. A lot of people prayed for Ethan, myself, the Henry family, and a lot of people stepped in and donated. Anthony, like I mentioned before, donated 88 rifles. Baron Engraving of Trumbull, Connecticut, they donated all the engraving, all the hand painting on the wooden stocks. And I'm going to show you guys some pictures of the rifles right now. But this is the time that we all need to chip in. This world's it's been a lot of bad news. It's been a lot of bad news for a lot of people, just in the past couple of months. And this is just a short way that Henry can give back to a great couple and for a great cause. And I'm gonna be honest with you guys, from the time me making this video, if you're interested in one of the 88 rifles that we're going to be selling on Henry's website, and you can pick your rifle. Now, I have already purchased serial number 22 that I will be presenting the shawls with in memory of Ethan, and serial number 1 will be on Gunbroker, and it will be auctioned off. And every bit, every penny of the earnings for these rifles will go to help the Shaws and help cover some of their medical expenses.
We're blown away. I mean, the whole community rallied around us and loved on us and hugged us and prayed for us. And people were generous and brought food and meals, and it was. It hit almost exactly the same time as COVID, the second week of March. And it was, the whole world was just going crazy. And while that was going on, people were coming together and praying for us and supporting us, and we're blown away.
Well, it's the least that we can do. And guys, like I mentioned before, if you're interested in any of the rifles, go to henry.com or henryusa.com and check out the rifles. All the monies, all the proceeds will go here to the Shaws and to pay all the medical bills that they did acquire during this time. Thank you very much for watching. If you have any questions, you can put them in the comments below. And remember, if it's not made in America, it's not going to be made at all.